afternoon and a warm welcome for 68th AICOG TV. I'm pleased to have with me Professor Emeritus Dr. Savita Mehendale. She is from Bharati Vidyapit University Medical College in Pune. Thank you very much, ma'am, for accepting our invite to be here
Thank you very much.
68th AICOG TV, and we will be having a discussion with ma'am on the topic of oligohydramnios. I think which is very commonly seen in day-to-day practice,
yes.
and a lot can be done to avoid it as well as to well manage it. So let me begin with my first question, ma'am. What is this source? What is the source of amniotic fluid?
See, the amniotic fluid is formed by the fetus, by the placenta, and by the mother. So, the first to begin with, the fetal skin is very permeable, and that is why the transudate from the fetus plasma will enter into the amniotic cavity. Apart from that, from the maternal blood vessels which are in the uterus, they are also means maternal transudate is also coming into the amniotic cavity, and thus to begin with it start like that. Later on it goes on increasing. So from 18 weeks onwards, actually the fetal kidneys, they start producing urine from 9 weeks onwards, but you can measure the quantity from 18 weeks very easily, and this is about 9 cc's to 14 cc's per day, but it goes on increasing as the pregnancy advances, and at term it is about 27 to 35 cc's per hour. So that much is the contribution of fetal urine. Roughly it is about 600 to 1000 cc's in a day, which is contributed by the fetus. Apart from that, the fetal lungs, they also produce some liquid which is also thrown into the amniotic cavity. So these are the contributors of formation of amniotic fluid. But to maintain the volume at that particular stage of pregnancy, it is very essential that there should be balance between the production and the elimination of amniotic fluid. So elimination is done by amniotic fluid swallowing by the fetus. So fetus swallows amniotic fluid in a day, and about it is 600 cc's. But apart from that, the fluid from the amniotic cavity enters into the fetal blood vessels also. This is called as a intramembranous transport, and from the amniotic cavity to the maternal circulation, it is called as a transmembranous transport. So this intramembranous transport is playing an important role for elimination of amniotic fluid. Nowadays, a lot of research is going on where it has been observed that there are aqua proteins. Then the name given aqua protein is because they got a capacity to transport large quantity of fluid. That is why aqua protein. They form the water channels on the cells, and through this amniotic cell, the fluid is transported to the fetal blood vessels which are in the chorionic villi. That is, the balance is maintained.
That's a very good physiology of the amniotic fluid that you have elaborated.
Because amniotic fluid is a very important part. Means the fetus floats in that, fetus grow there. Not only that, it helps in the development of musculoskeletal system, gastrointestinal system, and the pulmonary, that is lung growth, is also dependent on the amniotic fluid. Yes.
So ma'am, what could be the reason for that oligohydramnios?
Now there are so many causes for oligohydramnios. If the balance is not well maintained between the production and elimination, then the oligohydramnios can occur, or a polyhydramnios can occur. But there are fetal causes, and it has been observed that if there is an early onset of oligohydramnios, that is between 13 weeks to 24 weeks, in majority of the cases, that is 55 to 57% of the cases, the cause is related to some congenital abnormality or chromosomal abnormality, such as absence of kidney or polycystic kidney, multicystic kidney, renal agenesis, or sometimes that may not be the cause, but simply the intrauterine growth restriction. When there is a growth restriction, means there is some cause for that, means the fetus is in stress, and when the fetus is in stress, then the arginine vasopressin hormone is secreted in large quantity, which will help in more and more water absorption from the kidneys, that is collecting tubules of the kidneys, and it will try to maintain the means blood volume of the fetus. That is why the urine output is less. The maternal causes are there, means there are so many diseases such as severe preeclampsia, then the infections there such as TOS infection or SLE, autoimmune disease, APLA means the problem, or the simple means chronic anemia itself can lead to placental insufficiency, and whenever there is a placental insufficiency, renal blood flow is hampered and urine output is hampered. It has been observed nowadays that this aqua protein, which I have told you recently, that the aqua protein production means the utilization, if it is increased, large quantity of fluid is reabsorbed from the amniotic fluid into the fetal circulation, and this could be one of the important cause for the oligohydramnios. But apart from this, I got many references where the ladies residing near the railway station, bus stand or the airport, or those who are working in the factory where actually a lot of noise is there, and they have observed that these ladies, when they are pregnant, chances of intrauterine growth restriction are much more, and that is why the urine output could be less. On that basis, one doctor has done, means so many studies are there, but one article I have read that when the with the tuning force, it was kept for longer time on the abdominal wall, it has been observed that out of fear, the fetus was started swallowing the amniotic fluid, and this was documented with a 3D ultrasonography, and this fear could be because of a noise pollution. And so I think that recently the noise pollution is so much in cities that this could be one of the cause, or other I feel more important is the stress. Nowadays the women, they are undergoing stress, lot of stress, different types of stress, and it has been observed that they may not show it that stressful condition is there, but in their mind they must be thinking something. So if whenever there is a stress, then the neurohormonal system in the body is definitely affected, and thus it has been observed that uteroplacental blood flow in them is less, and that is why the renal flow to the kidneys of the fetal kidney is less and the urine output less. So I feel nowadays the sound pollution and the stress could be the major cause. Yes, apart from
medical disorders of the pregnancy.
Yes.
Ma'am, how do we treat it, and what is the role of hydrotherapy in the treatment of
See, the treatment,
oligohydramnios?
it has been observed that if it is early onset 13 to 24, in majority of the cases there is some congenital abnormality. So if suppose the postnatal survival is not possible, nothing can be done, just observe her. If it is compatible for that, then we may have to do so many investigations that what could be the cause of this insufficiency, and then we may have to take help of the pediatric surgeon also if suppose there is a obstructive uropathy, whether we can do something. And nowadays they are, if suppose the bladder neck obstruction is there or urethral obstruction is there, so they are putting a shunt in the bladder of the fetus, and this shunt is kept into the amniotic cavity.
At what level of amniotic fluid we should go for such an invasive procedure in oligohydramnios?
No, it can be done when the pregnancy is about 20 weeks, after 20 weeks, usually. So they put the shunt, so divert the urine from the bladder into the amniotic fluid. But if suppose there is some comorbidity, then we have to treat it accordingly. But it has been observed that nowadays ladies are working, and because of that the water intake is much less. And if the water intake is less, naturally the maternal plasma osmolality is increased, fetal plasma osmolality is increased, and again this hormone which I have told you, that arginine vasopressin production by the kidneys is increased, by the fetus is increased, they try to absorb more and more fluid. So if we ask the lady to drink at least 2 liters of water within 3 to 4 hours, it has been observed that even with a normal level of amniotic fluid, the level is increased. So the amniotic fluid index in the cases of oligohydramnios is definitely increased. So in our institution also we are using this, we are giving intravenous saline, we are giving intravenous dextrose or fructose, and alternate day or daily for 7 to 8 days, and it has been observed that definitely the intrauterine life of the fetus is good, and we can gain more weeks of pregnancy because the incidence of premature delivery, or we have to induce the labor, or we have to do cesarean section, this rate is high because of oligohydramnios that we can avoid.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your views on the topic of oligohydramnios. Can there be a single one-liner message you would like to give to the young budding gynecologist while treating oligohydramnios? What precaution they have to take?
Oligohydramnios is really a challenge to the obstetricians and to the pediatricians also. The first advice is ask the ladies to, one, lifestyle should be changed so that the stress will be less, and they should drink water, adequate water in a day. That should be the first thing. And regular checkup to know whether the amniotic fluid volume is adequate or not, whether the fetus is growing properly or not. So proper antenatal checkup has to be done by the doctor. Patient has to go to the doctor for that checkup. So it is a both way.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks for being here. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.